Who wants a Helldivers-sized helping of fixes, changes, and controversy? Sounds a bit concerning, but for Helldivers, that's a standard Tuesday. Welcome to the channel, it's LtBuzzLitebeer, and we've got another update to the game, more ideas coming in from Johan, and a bit of a hot take grenade being lobbed in by an outside source. So make sure and stay tuned for that one. But before we dive into it all, it's time to hear from today's video sponsor, me. Seriously, the easiest way to support the channel is to hit subscribe, leave a comment, and rate the video. In turn, YouTube responds by promoting the channel, and our Helldivers information makes it out to more viewers. Also, don't forget to ring the notifications bell so you never miss one of my future upload alerts. And it's time to get stuck into all the latest from Helldivers. A quick look around the Superstore is the first order of business for today, and these are the Freedom's Flame Alt Armor versions. Starting off with the Salamander Heavy Body Armor with Flamable. You've also got the matching I-44 Salamander helmet, the I-92 Firefighter helmet, and the Firefighter Medium Body Armor, again with Flamable. Over to the Galactic table we go, and coming from the last major order, losing it, and then just hours later fully liberating Crux, to now this one we're currently in, and things feel like they've ramped up in intensity, right? I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. It wouldn't be the first time, but I was hitting the matchmaker on Super Helldive yesterday on Esker, and despite us completing the campaigns, the progress bar was barely moving. Now, seeing those elevated regen rates for the planets, despite the fact that the bugs were the aggressors, meaning we had the tactical advantage of already having the planet under our control, made it feel like we were constantly hurling ourselves against a brick wall. But in the end, we did it and fully defended Esker, but because the rates were so unfavorable, we never had a chance of finishing it up and then jumping over to Socorro 3 to try to defend that one as well. The way it sits right now, with just under 5 days to go with this current major order, we've now completed 1 of 8 required defense campaigns, with no other defenses currently active, and it looks like we're going to have to do this the hard way and liberate planets to then activate those defense campaigns. But as you can see from the Helldivers companion app, Socorro 3 has a little over 17,000 divers on it right now. I mean, it's still a bit early here on the East Coast US, but with those kind of numbers, we are losing ground at just under 0.4% an hour. Translation, we need more divers. Here's hoping to us getting enough players on and all hitting the objectives to knock this one out, because I really don't want to go back-to-back 0 for 2 on major orders, especially when the Death Star is so close to completion. For those of you looking to snag another 15 medals, possibly to pick up more items from the Truth Enforcer's War Bond, today's daily or personal order is to kill 60 enemies with the AMR, or Anti-Material Rifle, which should not give you any problems, because the AMR is a beast for either bugs or bots, hopefully bugs, you know what I'm saying, and you'll knock this one out in no time at all. We'll circle back around and touch more on the latest major order in just a moment, because there's an interesting hot take I want to share with you. But taking a look around the news sites, and here's what they are currently saying. Sports Illustrated says Helldivers 2 Update 1.001.202 patch notes, a small balance change, and some fixes. And by the way, I will run you through the latest balance change and those patch notes in just a moment. There's a couple things on paper that look small, but they've improved the game. VG247 says Helldivers 2's latest patch makes raising flags less terrifying. Okay. And cheeky, I love that word, cheeky mid-air medical care could be part of Arrowhead's solution to ragdolling helplessness. The Gamer gets a little more spicy with it. They say Helldivers 2 major order asks you to recruit disenfranchised families as cheap labor. Yahoo, and the article I want to touch on in just a moment, goes quite a few steps further than the Gamer. They say Helldivers 2's JOEL gives cruelest major order yet, as High Command eyes disenfranchised families as cheap labor to work on the dangerously sketchy new super weapon. And like I said, we'll touch on that in a moment. Comicbook.com says Xbox Insider claims Helldivers 2 port not happening, and I'm just going to stop right here. Every week this headline changes, right? One week it's Xbox is coming, the next week they're not, and the next week they're coming, and then the next week it didn't happen again. At this point, PlayStation needs to sit down with Uncle Phil over at Xbox, and they need to sort through this all, because we definitely need Xbox brought into the fold. And let's finish up with this one. It says, The Mirror, Helldivers 2 update fixes broken raise the flag objective, while ragdolling fine-tuning continues. As promised, let's take a look at this Yahoo Entertainment article brought to you by GamesRadar, discussing the dangerously sketchy new super weapon and our cruelest major order yet. Quote, Helldivers 2 players are faced with potentially their most morally dubious major order yet. Help High Command enlist families of refugees to build the structurally unsound super weapon called Democracy Space Station, which doesn't have beds or toilets and is at risk of collapse and self-combustion. Listen to this next part. That's pretty messed up, man. It is far from the first time I've seriously questioned the moral fortitude of Helldivers 2 Game Master Joel, who previously sent freedom fighters to literally blow up bug babies and sacrifice the well-being of sick children to help get the DSS built. Oh, not to mention the fact that the latest MO was widely called, quote, unwinnable, and, wouldn't you know it, was not won. Further into the article, it says, basically, the Terminids are attacking planets obscured by the spore cloud they created called the Gloom, and families fleeing these planets are being recruited by High Command and apparently paid peanuts to help build the new DSS super weapon, which could blow up and kill everyone on board at any time. It's players' job to secure these planets for easy passage. It's still not entirely clear what the DSS will even do if and when construction is complete, which is a little weird because it's been dominating our MOs for months the last month. Okay, so their grammar checker didn't catch that one. Arrowhead recently said it still wasn't ready to go, quote, into details, but from what we have heard, it sounds a little like the Helldivers 2 version of the Death Star from Star Wars. I mean, hell yeah, who doesn't want that? A galaxy-hopping space station that'll be a powerful strategic tool for reshaping the galactic map that could ultimately, quote, change the course of the war. Okay, so let me check up here. Who's the editor on this one? Jordan Gerblick, pulling the pin and tossing in the hot take grenade, or are they? You know, I honestly don't know if they're serious about everything they're firing off here in the article or just going for pure, unadulterated shock value, but this would be an interesting topic for chat. Keep it civil, please, but what's your take on this Yahoo GamesRadar Jordan Gerblick article? Drop me a comment and let me know. On to the official news coming from the Helldivers Discord, and it's Tuesday, so we're going to see a bit more from the dev team today, starting off with another round of player feedback surveys, which, if the past is any indication, has already been closed due to it hitting the maximum number of responses. Now, I actually got into this one, and I answered questions like, overall, how are you liking Helldivers 2 right now? What do you like? What are you not liking? I, of course, gave them feedback on both. And then there was an optional question about the Truth Enforcer's War Bond. You know, the weapons, the armor sets, the new booster, and more. You know, we've seen changes made by the devs based off of player feedback, and hopefully they see all of our responses and make some solid additions and changes to the game based on what we all had to say. But of course, the more impactful news is that Helldivers got a new patch earlier today in the form of 1.001.202, and overall, it's not going to snag the headlines like, say, a weapon buff patch would, but there are some good fixes packed in here. Let's start off with a vague fix they mentioned, aimed at reducing enemy spawn rates during the Spread Democracy missions in an attempt to make them easier to complete. Now, I wish we had more specifics here because I found the bug side of these to be just fine. Super Helldive was hectic because it's supposed to be hectic, but you know, overall it was rewarding with tons of targets to kill, and the 380 napalm was always the showstopper on that side. But over on the bots, where I'm guessing they did the most of the changes here, the dropship spam was out of control. Even fully kitted out with other top tier players, holding just one of these objectives long enough to raise the flag was a game of sheer luck. I had tanks constantly drop directly on top of me, leading to me just going through their meshes and ending up inside of them. And the amount of things all shooting at you was something you would see in a Star Wars movie when the Empire is just conducting a frontal assault. Miscellaneous fixes were mostly aimed at SOS beacons, which is actually really good to see, because last night I actually squatted up with a random and we proceeded to take on 2 super Helldive bug missions with just the 2 of us, because even with me throwing down the SOS beacon, no divers were responding, which is probably due to some sort of glitch in the Matrix. It also says here the devs have fixed the directional movement lockout issues when using mouse and keyboard and holding down WASD at the end of a stratagem sequence, which is great to see. And they also addressed the janky changes that were made to the social wheel, along with the player names and chat disappearing. And finally, we've got the known issues. They have not changed. It's all of our favorites. All the greatest hits are still down here. We've got excessive ragdolling, unable to emote while flying through the air. Bummer there. Strap balls bouncing, triple bummer. And the reinforced Scout Strider in general just being a total pain in the ass to deal with. Well, it doesn't actually say those exact words, just me adding in my color commentary, but seriously, those things are a pain in the ass. And finally, we touched on this topic a bit yesterday, but Johan, Arrowhead's CCO, has once again taken to Twitter, this time to respond to a Helldivers alerts post and subsequent Video Gamer news article about his desire to get in some crossover events. Let's take a look at what he had to say. Yeah, but these are just musings. If we were to do all of them, it would dilute the IP and make it a not Helldivers experience. To add more to this conversation, here's an extended list of IPs that I would really love to do a take on. Listen to these. Aliens, love it. Starship Troopers, makes sense. Terminator, that would work well with the bots. Predator, okay. Star Wars, of course. Fifth Element, Multipass. Blade Runner, ooh, that's an interesting one there. Of course, Warhammer 40k, Trench Crusade, which he mentioned yesterday, Mutant Chronicles, and Drop Zone Commander. Man, I haven't heard of that last one in a long time. But I do agree with Johan on the point that if you do too many crossovers, Helldivers would become watered down and it would no longer be Helldivers, if you know what I'm saying. But of those he listed out, which would you like to see brought to the game? Drop me a comment and let me know. I wish I could create a poll with that many choices on it, but maybe we'll have to do some sort of bracket so we could see which would be the most popular crossover to bring to the live game. Because with all of that out of the way, it's now time for your top comments. And as always, if you want to see your name and comment featured in my next video, you first need to let it fly on this video. And who knows, it might get upvoted enough so that it makes it into the next top 3 breakdown. Kicking it off in the 1 spot is LtSparky, who says, Bug Divers, we were so close, how did we lose? And then the bot divers respond, first time, huh? Yeah, this one hits you in the feels, right? We tend not to fail those bug major orders, so this one definitely spanked us around and affected our overall Helldiver morale quite a bit more than usual. Moving along, and in the 2 spot is Awesome Inc. 175, who says, this is the first time in my memory that we failed on the bug side. Like I just mentioned, the numbers were probably there on the bot side, but so it goes. Welcome to the game, Bug Divers. Again, yeah, we tend not to fail those bug major orders, but here we were failing this one, and it definitely stung. And let's move on to the caboose, the number 3 position from Jackson Chastain 656, who says, honestly, I'm impressed we made it as far as we did on the major order. I knew it was going to be a close shave from the start. And like I said in yesterday's video, if those regen rates, if those DK rates had kind of functioned like they would in the past and they started to slack off a little bit, we would have pulled off the crux, and that entire major order, the one that was deemed unwinnable, we would have won. But c'est la vie. We move on, right? All right, this is a great place to press pause for today. Of course, we're going to have another Helldivers upload tomorrow. And as always, I look forward to reading your feedback. Drop me a comment about anything Helldivers related, and I will do my best to respond. Remember to hit subscribe and to ring that notifications bell so you never miss one of my future upload alerts. All my socials, including links to all of today's sources, can be found down in the video description. A massive thanks goes out to the now over 247,000 of you incredible ladies and gentlemen that have already taken the plunge. You've hit subscribe and you tune in to support me and the channel. We're making that last little push up to 250K. And if you haven't done so already, we'd love to have you along for the ride. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer signing off.